Welcome, everyone. It is that time. It is time for another Total Image Woman of the Week interview. You know how much I love to do these, and I'm wondering for you, what is your truth? You know, when I was talking with my guest today, Laura Clark, about how, about what we were going to do and what we were going to talk about, when she said that to me, I'm like, oh, my truth. I don't know what's my truth. So I'm intrigued, and hopefully you are all intrigued because I know it seems like this is something that's the very foundation of who we are and how we lead our lives and how we build businesses, if we're building businesses, or just everything out there. And I met Laura when someone else that I know put together a mastermind. And Laura was part of it, and we had not met before then, but we have since found out that we have other friends in common, which I think is very cool. And I'm not surprised because I immediately enjoyed Laura. She's someone who is very insightful and really gets to the heart of the matter in a very kind and non-judgmental way, which I don't know. I really like that. Some people, I guess, like being hit over the head with stuff. I don't so much. So, I just was very drawn to Laura and, recently said to her, hey, how come I haven't had you as a Total Image Woman of the Week? So it's time. So here we are. And Laura, I want to welcome you.
Thank you for having me, Ginger. Like you said, we've met, I think it's been a year now that we've been in this mastermind together. And I just love your warmth and your genuine caring about what you do and how you want to bring that to your clients. And I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to talk with you. Friday happy hour time.
Yeah, right. Friday happy hour. I love it. So perfect. And Celeste is, oh my goodness, Celeste is watching him from Anguilla. I can never say that. So wow, go Celeste. I love it. So thank you for being here, because you could be doing other things, I'm sure, while you're there. But Laura, tell us what you do, how you got doing it, why you do it, all of those kinds of fun things.
Sure. So I am the founder of the Wise Living Institute and the Living Your Truth Sisterhood. And I support sassy, creative, and entrepreneurs to step forward in their own purpose, with passion for greater prosperity. Because when we do that, when we step forward with our truth, we align with all those things that we find yummy in our lives, with all those good, wonderful activities, those good, wonderful relationships that we want to have in our lives. And when we are able to do that, we find more joy and more abundance in life. I got into this a couple of different ways. I actually believe I've been doing it all my life. As a resident assistant in college, I would look at somebody and say, well, do you really want to do that? Are you doing that for yourself? Or are you doing that because you're going along with everybody else, right? So I've been doing this a long, long time. I actually created the business out of another business because I had gotten to a point in a holistic bodywork practice where I had built it. I thought it was my dream, and it was great for a long time, very joyful. And I still do some of that work. But it wasn't a great joy after 10 years of 30 clients a week, of bringing in 7 or 8 other therapists into my business. I was running raw. And I was doing it because I should do it, right? I should. This is what you do to build a business. You've got to work hard. You've got to do this. I should do that. People rely on me. My clients rely on me. My therapists rely on me. My family relies on me to bring home that kind of bacon. And I hit that wall. And so I did what I do best, and that's sit in quiet reflection to say, where am I out of alignment? What do I really want to be doing? And how do I want to support people?
So at the time you were doing the body work, you weren't doing what you're doing right now, except maybe, personally for yourself. But this was how your business, this business, the soul business, transpired. Is that right?
Yeah. So what I loved about my business was supporting people to feel better, in their self,
Mm.
right? And the vehicle was the body. But what I recognized is people would have these long conversations with me about, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. I'm like, what do you want to be doing? Right? What we should never be doing anything that we don't want 100% to do unless we have to make a shift and a tweak to make that dream come true, right?
Yes.
And so I just was like, I ratcheted back that business as I began working with people one-on-one and then eventually in the institute.
What does it mean to know your truth?
That's a great question. So the truth lies deep within, right? The truth, your truth is your sole reason, S-O-U-L, not S-O-L-E, S-O-U-L, your sole reason for being here on this earth. That's your truth at its core. And your soul tells you things all the time. It's trying to talk. Our ego, all those things in our head tells us other things. And our soul kind of goes over here and says, I'm here if you're willing to listen to me.
Oh.
I'm here. I'm over here. Really, I am. And sometimes it'll knock quietly, and sometimes it hits you over the head with a cosmic 2x4, right?
Yeah, those are tough.
They are tough, right? But it's always there. It's just waiting for you to listen. So we have to ratchet down that ego talk, that mind, those words that don't support us, the language that just doesn't help us get further, so we can hear that truth that lies within.
It's really funny, but what just popped into my head was something that happened to me years ago. And I think what was happening, you can tell me if I'm right or not, was that I really wasn't paying attention to what I needed. And I was diagnosed, this was like 22 years ago, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. I was so sick. And I lost 15 pounds in 6 weeks, and I'm not a very big person to begin with, so that was not a really good thing. And and what happened was I just depleted energy. And at the time, I was, selling a line of clothing, which I never should have been doing. And I had to go and I thought I had to go and do an event for someone, bring the clothes over, show it to everybody, take their orders, all that kind of stuff. And I remember being in a cleansing group, and the woman who was running it said, "What, are you nuts?" I mean, that's not what she said. She's much more loving than that. But she said, "No." And I said, "Well, if I don't do it, I'm going to disappoint all these people." And she said, there's another way out of this. You can find someone else who can do it for you. And I realized that I wasn't listening to my soul saying, "Hello, Ginger, you don't need to be everything to everybody and do everything yourself." And it took me getting sick and then feeling like, oh my God, I have to also do this thing to be able to go forward. And once they said this to me, I'm like, oh, I know someone who would do it for me. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Is that kind of my soul talking to me and hitting me over the head with a 2x4?
Oh, I'm sure it was a cosmic 2x4. And one of the things that women, we often over deliver, right? We over deliver, we over give, because that's what we like to do. We like to support others. We forget that we can get that support ourselves. We can ask others to do things. When I was in the height of doing all of my body work, anybody that called up and said, "Hey, Laura, can you do something?" I'd say yes, because nobody could do it as good as I was. And then I'd bring on other therapists, but they wanted to see me, right? Yeah. They were referred to me, and I'm like, but something has to give, because my body was giving out at that point in time, like yours, And so I finally had to say, my table is closed. If you want to come, I have these women. They're wonderful practitioners. And once I started doing that, I was giving myself permission to seek other support, right? To seek other wisdom. And once we start saying no to certain things, with support, we say no, but here's some avenues that you can pursue. All of a sudden, we start seeing what we really want to do.
Right.
and what's really the truth, right? Because our soul gets happy. It's like,
I was just
oh,
gonna
she's
say,
taking care
your
of
soul's
herself.
jumping up and
She's taking
down.
care
Yeah.
of herself. Oh, this is good.
Of
Let
course.
me support her to take care of herself a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And it's in that instead of spiraling down, we start spiraling up.
So body breaking down, getting sick, those kinds of things. What are some of the other like cosmic two by fours that we can be hit with,
Mhm.
so that we can recognize that? Because sometimes I think we just think bad things happen to us, but I think there's a reason that these things happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm one of these people that say, bad things happen to good people.
Mm,
It's not the bad thing that you've attracted, right? Because we talk about law of attraction, you get what you need. It's the lesson we need to learn.
mhm,
So we start attracting the lessons that we are not listening to in and of themselves. So things that happen, relationships break apart, right? Um, Businesses start to plateau or plummet.
yeah.
Um, you get all these doors closing, right? Everybody's saying no to something, and all of a sudden you just feel like the weight of the world is on you. That's when you know you need to kind of stop, sit still, and reassess, right?
And how do you
And it's
do
in that.
that?
How do
How
you
do you
do
do
that?
that? Like, how do you listen to your soul besides finally responding to something that's hitting you over the head? Like,
Yeah.
do?
So it's a process. It's a recipe of lots of different things that you put into place for yourself. But what I tell people, the first thing that we have, every single one of us has access to, are the four elements in nature. We all have access to air.
Mhm,
We hopefully all have access to water,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
We all have access to fire in terms of the sun, and we all have access to good, solid Mother Earth, mud and trees and dirt, right?
mhm,
All of these things are there to support us.
mhm,
And the first thing is breathing, right? If we're feeling like things are spiraling, we just need to take that deep breath.
mm.
We need
Just
to
did. So
stop,
as soon as
slow
you said
down,
that, I'm like, "Oh my god, I have to breathe." Yeah, sorry. Keep going.
right? But don't hold it, right? Some
Alright.
people are like, "Woo!"
Yeah.
Right? You have to do that deep, what they say is hara. The hara is in the abdomen, the big abdominal breaths. And I've been in meetings where I've excused myself and gone to the bathroom, and just in the bathroom, just taking some good deep breaths.
Mhm,
Anytime I'm at a conference, when there's a break, I go outside
mm,
because there's so much going on around us all of the time. I'm one of those people that need to be grounded.
mm,
And I just get grounded by standing on Mother Earth and feeling that support and that love that she gives all of us.
mhm.
And in that moment, with a deep breath, you get clarity. Here's another example. Ginger, have you ever taken a shower, right? You've had a problem and you take a shower and then all of a sudden you like get the answer, right?
Yeah.
You get the answer, right? That's because you're washing away the emotions that we're holding using the element of water. We're
Wow.
we're allowing ourselves to be cleansed, and we're getting that into that space of allowing our truth to rise up.
Wow.
So, those are things that we can powerfully connect to start the process of hearing our truth that lies within.
I love it. Just simple everyday things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's this the soul's truth seems so it's so big, right? Everybody says, "Well, what's my purpose and what do I need to be doing all day long and I'm gonna have to go for a week retreat." Don't Hey, week retreats are great. They're wonderful. I know somebody who's here on the watching us, Nina,
That's neat.
is hosting a beautiful
Yeah.
deep dive retreat, right? That's great. But we need to be able to navigate our day-to-day lives as well. So when we start integrating some of these simple things each and every moment, that's when the soul starts speaking to us more often and with greater clarity.
And I think it's sometimes hard for us to do that. Sometimes, first of all, sometimes we don't know what we don't know, and sometimes it's also hard to see ourselves objectively in a way. So I'm assuming that
Yeah.
what you can do is really help people to hone in on, okay, this is happening because of this, or maybe take another look at that. So tell us how you
Sure.
support people and be able to get to their truth.
Yeah. So, thank you for that. I really take them to the basics, right? How are you breathing? What, are you breathing into your throat? Are you breathing into your heart? Are you breathing into your hara? And we start there. And then, one of the greatest tools that I believe anybody can use is the power of the pen. The pen and journaling and answering those deeper questions that we have, and just allowing ideas to come through, whether you do it through doodle journaling or poetry or um, even painting. But the pen has a way of bringing our truth out, and you can see things more objectively and clearly on a piece of paper. So I always use journaling as an aspect of my coaching.
And to call Nina out here a little bit too, we know she's somebody who writes amazing poetry. So
Amazing.
amazing,
Yeah.
yeah, really gets
Uh,
to the heart of things through
right.
her beautiful poetry.
Yeah. And Ginger, you probably do this in the work that you do. You support women the same way so that they can find their truth. What do they feel good in? When something's laying on their shoulders or around their neck or with the pants on, what does that feel good? What you're asking is that your truth?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I can remember back in college and high school, even high school, when I was trying to find my own style, right? I would look at the girls who had the preppy look, and I'd look at the girls who had the hippie look, and I would try to mock them and, well, try this and try that, and nothing worked, right? Because I was trying to fit in.
Yes. Yes.
To hear your soul's truth, you actually have to fit out,
Yeah. I love that.
right? And find your own thing.
I love that. I did the same thing. So many people say to me, hey, when I was in my 20s, I could wear anything and I just threw it on and I looked good. I never, ever felt that way. I struggled so much in my teens and 20s. And what I did was I was very involved in the folk dancing crowd. And I just love these women who are kind of free spirited and just natural and easy. And they put on these really cool outfits and looked amazing. I would put those on and I felt ridiculous. I don't know how I looked. All I know is that I didn't feel good in it, because you're absolutely right. It was not my truth. And at the time, you're getting probably way more than you ever want to know here about me. But at the time, I was coming out as a lesbian. And back in the 70s, lesbians did not wear skirts. They did not wear girly things. There were flannel shirts and jeans, and that's kind of what you wore. And I tried that for a while. Really, really, really not for me.
Not your truth.
No, not my truth at all. And when I finally one time decided I was going to wear a skirt to a women's bar, oh my God, I got so many stares. Not the good kind of stares, all these stares. And I just thought, but I don't care. This is who I am. And you're absolutely right. One of the things, that woman I mentioned who really supported me back through that cleanse when I was diagnosed with Crohn's, one of the things she worked on with all of us is, identifying in a way kind of our soul's purpose. And one of the things that I came up with is that mine is nurturing beauty. That's
I love that.
I own the domain name, and that's what I always come back to when I really need to step it up a little bit, or step out. I like what you said. Step out.
Yeah.
Just remind myself of that. So, wow.
Yeah, our core purpose is so very vital to know, and to be able to identify it and articulate it in less than 5 words, like you just did, allows us to be able to be reminded of it when we're feeling a little awkward, right? Even in conversations, if I'm having kind of like an awkward conversation, I sit and the words awaken wisdom, because that's my sole purpose, is to awaken wisdom, right? And whether that's my own wisdom or the truth about a conversation, it's to awaken wisdom. And what I love about yours and mine is it's done in a compassionate and kind way, right? You don't think about awaken wisdom as being an aggressive way of living, right? It's a warm, it's a compassionate way to support yourself and others, the same with yours. And that's what I love about the communities of women that come together, whether you're folk dancing or whether you're masterminding, it's just that warmth and compassion of allowing people to emerge and step out in their own truth, in their own way. And now more than ever, as we are thankfully getting to the end of one cycle and into another cycle of this epic period in history, we are starting to emerge and going out. And it's more important than ever to feel comfortable and be in our own skin, if you will, in a way that we feel confident and courageous and supportive.
And you, obviously, with the people you work with, whether one-on-one or in your groups, you help them to awaken wisdom and remind them to pay attention to their own wisdom, I'm assuming.
Yes, yeah. And that's that space of great being able to listen and understand your truth, get really clear on it. And within that, this passion starts building up, and you're able to step out more confidently and more courageously because it's just bubbling up. And when things bubble up, and there's this stepping out, and you just have to do it.
Yeah.
You just have to take those risks.
Yeah.
And emerge, and I think that right now, the women who are creating these communities and these wonderful ways of doing that are giving us all permission to blossom in the way that we're meant to blossom.
Yes.
And I do think, Miss Ginger, that you've created a little community about that next week. Yes? Maybe?
Yes.
About emergence and reemerging?
Yes. I'll be doing that with Nina and another woman. So yeah, because you're right. It's a time of, I love your word, awakening. It's a time of awakening, both because it's spring and also because, we've been a year in a mess. So, just kind of awakening from that into not what we had before, but something new. And yeah. And I would think that people now more than ever, what a brilliant time to have you supporting people to, find their path, to find their way, to really discover their truth, so that as we do all reemerge and we do all awaken out there into the world, that we do it in a way that's inspiring and feels exciting and doesn't feel like we're slogging through mud to get where we need to go.
And I think that as we start this process of reemerging and stepping forward, it's really important to have a soft place to land. Because we're just not used to, I'm not used to going out in public. I've had a choice over the year to be pretty hunkered down. And so I have created ways to have a soft place to land and have that support for when you feel a little wonky out there, that you can come back in.
Yes.
When you feel you are, your confidence is a little bit low and you just need somebody to say, I understand.
Yes.
And what's coming up, what's percolating, and how can we support you in getting through that?
Ooh,
and
feels.
Yeah. And we need that. We all need that. That's one of my 6. I work on 6 truths, and that's my 6th truth is we need to learn how to ask for support. And we need to do that in community, whether it's one-on-one community or in a group of gathered wonderful light beings.
Which is so perfect. You lead us to. Please tell us your website where people can find out more about your one-on-one work. And also, you have a free Facebook group, as I recall. So
I do.
Tell us your website first, and then tell us about your free Facebook group.
Sure. So the website is thewiselivinginstitute.com. And when you magically put that URL in, a pop-up will come, and it has the 6 truths for sassy and creatives and entrepreneurs. And that is my basics and my beliefs. Those 6 truths are what we fundamentally need to understand to step forward. And behind that lies all of the beauty of the Wise Living Institute. I do have a Facebook group called Living Your Truth Community. And in that free community, we talk about these truths. We talk about the four elements. We talk about how to use earth to support us. We talk about challenges of the day, and how to overcome them, because we need that community to support one another.
Yeah, that's fabulous. So people can, and what I'm going to be doing is putting the links both to your website and to the Facebook group in the comments, so people can just click on them and it'll take them there. Tell us a little bit about your one-on-one work. How do people do that? And like, I'm sure there are a lot of amazing benefits to that, but like, what's one of the great benefits to being able to work with you one-on-one?
Yeah, so the one-on-one work is, what's great about that is I have the time to sit and really hold that sacred space to draw out exactly what that purpose is in the beginning. Really pull it out of you so that we can start aligning that in it being what I call the golden thread of life, and weaving it through everything that you do, because when we weave it through our relationships, our health, our businesses, our social practices, it allows us to grow in ways that bring us so much joy, because we are in full alignment with what our purpose is for being here in this wonderful earth that we walk upon.
I love it. I love it. And people can find out more about this on your website, I'm assuming. And they can, I'm sure
Absolutely.
they can also get in touch with you and find out more that way too.
Yeah,
Great.
absolutely. They can find me in the ethos on the website, here on Facebook. I'm virtually findable.
I love it. I love it. And I mean, as you all can tell just by our conversation here, Laura is so approachable. So, your focus is so heartfelt that there's, I think people don't have to feel nervous about being vulnerable. I mean, I've shared things with you right here. I mean, I know I've shared it with a whole bunch of other people who are watching too, but these are not things I talk about a whole lot. So it's just, you provide a safe space for people to be able to share what's going on with them. And then I know that because I've, gotten to know you more in the mastermind too, to be able to move them to a place that really just brings so much joy to their heart and their soul and all of it on a daily basis. That's what we all need.
We do. We need, because that's what's going to uplift the world, right? Is that vibrant, loving, kind energy.
Yes. And it's been out there in the past year, but I think it's been a challenging time for people to be able to truly discover all of that and to keep that fresh in their mind. So this is a perfect time to be looking at the reawakening of ourselves and the world and all of that. So, yeah. Laura, I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you.
To talk with you, and Nina and Karen and Celeste. I want to thank you all for watching. And, I know that you've just shared so much with us, which is great. And you'll be able to find Laura. I'll have the links there. So you'll be able to find Laura and find out more, join your Facebook group, all of those things, so you can really dive even deeper. But thank you again for being such a lovely guest.
Thank you for having me. I love having these impromptu connections where we just have conversations, because that's where we can learn so much about each other. So thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you all for watching, whether you're watching live or the replay. Thank you for being here. I'm sure that you found this really quite insightful and thought-provoking. And I will be back again soon for another Total Image Woman of the Week. But in the meantime, I hope you have a lovely, restful, healthy, happy, joyful weekend that's full of all these awakenings. So have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll see you back here again soon.